Hi, welcome to Coffee Break with Pastor David. I'm Pastor David Krufall, and I pastor New Life Church in Wahpeton, North Dakota. And it's good to get together with you today. I'm in Proverbs chapter 19 and verse 11. I think this is such a great verse to look at today. We're so into social media and being, YouTube, Facebook, you name it. And we're so into those things. People have become addicted to their phones. We can't help ourselves to be spending too many hours on that. You know what would be good for us is to spend less hours on those things and more hours in the Word of God. But however, this verse applies to now, our now time. And people like to pick on the younger generation because, they're on their phones all the time, blah, blah. I go out to the restaurant with my wife. We sit down to a meal. Our phones are put away. And I look around and people are on their phones instead of communicating with each other. And I see grandma and grandpas doing it too. It's the most foolish thing I've ever seen. You're there to enjoy a nice evening out, and you're sitting on your phone, not even paying attention to each other. Well, I enjoy paying attention to my wife, and so we put the phones away. We don't even allow them at our dinner table at home. And so there are times when we should fast our social media, and that would do us good. We talk about fasting food all the time, and it's actually a healthy thing to do. But fasting our social media would probably help our emotional health. Fasting food helps us with our spiritual and physical health, but fasting the phone can really, it can help with those things too. Probably cause less stress in our lives. Now, let's look at verse 11 in chapter 19 of Proverbs. A lot of wisdom in this book. The discretion of a man makes him slow to anger, and his glory is to overlook a transgression. Wow, how does that apply? Well, a lot of things, but I'm going to just apply it right now to social media. I've preached a sermon a while back that I said we need to approach social media like Dory approaches swimming through the ocean. Just keep moving, she would say. And I told the folks, we need to learn how to just keep scrolling. I got into a post on social media, and last night I try to edit myself all the time. I go back and I edit myself. I got friends who post things on our ministerial posts, and I wish they would go back and reread what they post before they actually post it. Well, I went ahead and I got into this conversation with somebody. I usually don't like getting into too many conversations. Sometimes it's an experiment to see where we are at with our attitudes and how we treat each other. Sometimes it's an experiment on my part. I go ahead and try to show respect to everybody. And so I don't like arguing. Most of the time I'm smiling. Well, this time somebody says something to me and I just shook my head. And I went ahead, and sometimes I just go ahead and write something and then I delete it. Well, I went ahead and wrote, "Get used to losing then." And went to delete it, and I hit the post button. Boom, out there. Anyway, I got an interesting response, which I did respond to. But this verse here tells us The discretion of a man makes him slow to anger. There's a lot of things I don't. Oh my word, they're so. It's so. Let me put it this way: so dumb. People are for killing people, for in the womb. People are for the most sinful acts, and I could waste my whole day getting upset and responding to those people who are not going to listen. They're blind to the truth. They don't want to hear it, even when you share the facts with them. And even if you point out their own sin, they don't want to listen. And they're just going to be stubborn because they can hide behind their screens. Where normally I don't think these people would act that way in person. Sometimes you have to defend someone. Like little old ladies who are dear Christians and they're trying to share their heart and somebody just attacks them so mean. We're to the point where Christians aren't really responding to things on social media and letting their voices be heard because they're tired of being shouted down. But it's also showing discretion and overlooking a transgression. Because on social media, it's not worth responding to everything that is out there. You don't have to click the button every time you see something with a thumbs up or an angry face. You don't have to go ahead and love everything. You can just keep scrolling. And that is what our lesson from Proverbs teaches us today. Be slow to anger. Don't get angry about these things. Oh my word. They could there's folks in Fargo that could really get you going. But then when you start, I got into a private messaging with one guy and found that his anger and why he was doing the things he was doing was because of great hurt. We don't need to add to people's hurt. We need to be a little understanding as well. And I was able to share the gospel with him. And at least plant a seed and have compassion for his situation. See, that's where we should be at as Christians. We don't have to be right. We know we're right when it comes to the Word of God and to our faith in Jesus. But we don't have to be right because we know we are right. So I hope this has helped you. I don't know who I'm speaking to today. I could be just speaking to myself. Be careful of those buttons if you're going to go ahead and erase. You might accidentally post something and it was too late. They already saw it, so I know I can go delete it, but I posted too soon. It reminded me of the story of President Truman. President Truman would write these horrible, horrible letters out of anger. And then he would have his secretary type it up and bring it to his desk. And he would put it in an envelope and he put it away. And the next day he'd take it out and read it and rip it up. But it was his way to get out of his frustration out instead of taking it out. Now, I don't suggest we all do that. He was just somebody who today would be told, keep a journal. Well, I don't think he'd want those journals around with all the things that he wrote in those letters. His secretary talked about those things, but she would not share what was in them because she was about discretion. Discretion's a good thing. Hey, God bless you. I hope you have a great day. We had a good service last night. Our speaker kind of got down to the weeds of things. He was trying to teach us some simple math from the Hebrew calendar, and then he got interesting. He was saying it was simple math, and some of us were saying we need a calculator. Wait, slow down. We need a calculator, and so it was actually good. That's his. I think that's his last time with us, and then we're going to have some other great speakers on Wednesday night. Next Wednesday, we're having our life groups. The men's group will meet, the women's group will meet. Of course, the kids are always meeting, and so we encourage you to join us on Wednesdays. But Sunday is coming. Breakfast at 9 with Sunday school and church at 10. Hey, New Life is located at 1021 South Center Street. 1021 South Center Street, Wahpeton, North Dakota. That's where New Life is located, and that's the church I pastor. I can't wait to see you next time.